Hi guys, fancy meeting you here. Seems like we were just here yesterday. So I am gonna do a little bit of a rant video, okay? I'm gonna rant about it and then I'm gonna let it go. So if you are all familiar with waiting, patience, waiting for a doctor to call, waiting for an employer to call you, waiting for a call back maybe for a job, just waiting in general is very hard for most of us, almost all of us, I'm pretty sure. And you guys know that I'm always at the pharmacy, or I'm picking up a prescription, or I'm calling in a prescription. And there's one particular prescription that every month I put the refill order in for it. It's a prescription that I need, I have to have for my health sake. And this one prescription, I can call in 4 prescriptions and they all get filled except for that one. So I have to email my doctor. That takes time to get back, and hope that she emails me back before I leave the pharmacy. I have to drive to the pharmacy, so it's not like I'm just like around the corner. I mean, it's not that far, but that's not the point. It's the principle, because it's supposed to be ready. I get a text message and an email saying that my prescriptions are ready. So then I get a response back from my doctor saying, okay, I called it in. It should be ready at your local pharmacy. So I drive to the pharmacy. No, your doctor hasn't called it in yet. It hasn't been authorized. After standing in line of about 5 or 6 people, and they only have 1 or 2 representatives. I mean, I think it's like that everywhere you go, whether it's the grocery store, no matter where it is, they always they have 5 booths and only 1 or 2 people working. Whatever, staff issues, money issues, I don't know, but it's annoying. So you get up to the front of the line and your prescription's not ready after your doctor just told you that your prescription's ready. As a matter of fact, my doctor said it was ready yesterday. I just didn't go yesterday because I don't know why, but I went today. Prescription's not ready. So I sat down, I said, let me email my doctor. So in the meantime, I'm getting an email from one of the pharmacists at my doctor's office. And as I'm emailing my doctor, this email comes through, and she's responding to an email that I sent yesterday about this same prescription. And she said, there are refills on your prescription. Your refill is being processed at the Brighton pharmacy. Okay, great. So as I send the email off to my doctor and I have this email from a pharmacist, I'm taking it up to the pharmacy counter. And I'm like, okay, I emailed my doctor. I said, and then I showed her the email. I have this email from the pharmacy at my primary care doctor's office. And she said, you can read it here. It says it's being filled at this pharmacy. She looks it up. No, nothing there. And she's like, well, let me go back and talk to the pharmacist. So she goes back, talks to the pharmacist, comes back a few minutes later, and she's like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and fill it for you. And it's like, what was the problem? Was it my doctor not authorizing it all this time? Or was it you guys not processing it? Whatever it is, they're gonna pass the buck and they're gonna just blame each other. It doesn't even matter at the end of the day, because she's like, go ahead and have a seat and we'll fill it for you. This one prescription is like this every single month. And I don't know what it is. And so I emailed my doctor. I said, I know it's not your fault. I'm sure it's not. But this one prescription that I need, and sometimes I just have 1 pill left, and it's like, okay, well, I pick up tomorrow, so this 1 pill will get me through the night. And then if it's not ready tomorrow, and let's say it's Friday, if I'm lucky, I can get it on a Saturday, but for the most part, I won't get it until Monday, which means I'm going 2 or 3 days in a little bit of pain, a little bit of discomfort, which I have a lot of that, and I don't need any more of that. So I'm frustrated with that, because I think that it is so scary at this day and age, and the way the world is regulates, and how everything is determined by a decision. And that just dawned on me. Like, I was sitting in the parking lot after I got it, a little frustrated because, mind you, I just came back from the car dealership because my check engine light keeps going on. By the time I get it there, I know this is like going from one to another, but I'm just telling you really quick. By the time I get it to the dealership, the engine light goes off. This time it stayed on. Well, this time I had to end up paying $70 out of pocket for them to adjust some computer stuff, right? Shouldn't be my problem, but I had to pay for it. That was annoying because I wasn't planning on spending that money on that. Life happens, okay, whatever. Could have been worse. So I'm sitting in the pharmacy parking lot and I'm just like, like, this is what it's all about. Like, this is how it goes. Like, we all are literally, my life is not 100%, and you know, it's not all determined by people and man, but for the most part, like, our lives are run by a click of a computer. One click, one keystroke can change your whole entire life. One keystroke can determine your day. It can determine whether or not you're going to be in pain. It can determine whether or not you might go through withdrawals. It can be, and I'm talking medically, but that goes all across the board. We have to wait for one person's okay, one person's authorization. If somebody slacks on their job, you have to pay for it. We have to pay for it. And that is a scary, scary realization, to know that we are all one keystroke away from one extreme to the other. Something really great happening to us, something, you know, money-wise, where we're going to get this big lump sum, or we're not going to get this money because somebody didn't click the enter button. Like, that's how scary and serious it is that there's no assurance in life. There's no definites. We're all just like floating around depending on one another. And we're all humans, and humans are going to be flawed, and we're going to make errors. And to have to wait and depend on another human being to determine whether or not I'm going to be in pain tonight or for the next 2 or 3 days because somebody didn't hit the okay button, or somebody didn't hit the send button, or somebody didn't authorize something by just clicking one little button. Like, that is scary, and that's sad. It's just really scary. And I sat there and I'm just like, wow, like, my life really, for the most part, is determined by somebody else's actions or lack thereof actions. And that scares the shit out of me. Like, you know, I'm sitting here going, shit, like, how I need to figure out a way, like a plan B as far as medical. I do have a plan B with my CBD and stuff, you know, to get me through. But when you're on prescriptions and you've been on a certain medication for a number of years, you know that if you don't have that prescription, you can't just stop taking a prescription. Doctors will tell you that. So when they're not filling your prescriptions and they know you're going 2 or 3 days without it, they know the consequence that you could have a seizure. You could have, I mean, there's so many different side effects and things that could happen if you go without a prescription, especially certain medications like that you have to have. I feel sorry for elderly people who they don't really have a voice, or they really don't know. They can't go on the computer and research stuff because they don't, you know, they're not tech savvy. I mean, unless you've been in the corporate world and you've had an office job, or you have worked with any type of computers whatsoever, these people, older people, don't know. One day the pharmacy was flooded when I went to pick up a prescription that I needed, and it was a Friday, and I got there and it was flooded. They didn't send no messages out to anybody. So can you imagine all the senior people and the people that are in wheelchairs that made it to the pharmacy, got out of their car in their wheelchair, or got out of their car and just barely made it to the door, only to find out that the door was locked. And there has to be a better system. There's a note on the door saying that there was a plumbing flood, but that would have been great if they could have had somebody say, hey, you guys, we got to make these calls. These prescriptions are available today. Try to get as many of these people on this list. If you see that they're senior citizens, you go by their date of birth, because all the prescriptions and all the IDs have a date of birth attached to them. Go through all of them, as many as you can, and try to call some of these senior citizens and let them know, hey, our office is closed. If you have an emergency, go to this office, but don't drive all the way to our office because the door is going to be locked when you get here. I think the whole system sucks. The whole system is bullshit. I mean, we're grateful. I'm grateful to have coverage to be able to pick up medications, but the fact that we're all one keystroke away from dying, and we're all one keystroke away from being homeless, is a scary, scary realization. So I know I'm not alone in this. I know that I can't be the only one who's frustrated about this. It's very frustrating for me. I hope and pray that one day I won't have to be on any of these medications, and not the day that I go to heaven, but the day here on earth when I finally find something that's going to be natural, something that's going to heal me and cure me somewhat, to have a better quality of life, to have less pain, to be able to interact with people and go out and do things without having to be limited, because I can only go out on a good day if I can accomplish 2 or 3 things in one day, that's great. If I'm having a good day, I try to go to the store, go to the grocery store, go to TJ Maxx, go to Walmart, go out to lunch. Like, I try to cram as much as I can into a good day, because when I have a bad day, sometimes I can't leave the house. And that's just kind of how my life goes. So like I told you guys before, I'm constantly trying to heal myself, to find cures, to find remedies, to find different, I've researched so much. I mean, there is stuff online that would probably be a great help to me, and a great pain reliever, and with less side effects from all the chemicals of the medications that I'm taking, which is why I don't take a lot of the medications that my doctors want me to take, because there's so many different side effects that I wouldn't be able to leave the house on any day, much less good days, because the amount of medication that one of my medications, my antidepressant mood stabilizer, they want me to take 2 at night. Okay, wait, is it 2 at night, 1 in the morning, and 1 at noon? 2 at night have me sedated the whole next day until about 1 o'clock. I could not imagine taking 2 at night, 1 in the morning, and 1 at noon. I would be a zombie. And I know that I'm taking just enough to keep me somewhat where I need to be. I don't think I need that extra, and I did tell my psychiatrist I don't need that. I'm good with the amount. I know that I'm good. If I feel like I'm, not really, I'm kind of having mood swings, and I feel like I'm not in a good headspace, then maybe I'll up it 1. But I won't be like consistently. If I have to go up one day, I'll do that. But I'm not going to take the amount that they suggest that I take or recommend that I take, because I know what I need. My body talks to me, my mind talks to me, my spirit talks to me. I have a gut instinct. I know when something's too much, and even if the doctors tell you stuff, doctors aren't always right. I have proven my doctors wrong multiple times. So I'm not a professional, I'm not an expert, but I've been interacting in the medical industry, in the medical field, with different ailments and different diagnoses and treatments and stuff to know. I always tell people, like, I'm a doctor. I just don't have a degree, and I don't get the doctor pay for it, because a lot of people will ask me, hey, if you have a bladder infection or if you have this going on, like, what would you suggest I do? And 9 times out of 10, I have a remedy for it. I have a remedy on hand. I can tell you what remedy to make or to buy over the counter. You don't even have to see a doctor sometimes. CBD and THC is probably going to be the number one cure for or treatment for a lot of different things. I advocate for CBD and THC cannabis because it's great. I know a lot of people, there's so many different makeup brands right now that are incorporating CBD and cannabis. I was just at Walmart yesterday, and I think it was Wet n Wild has some moisturizer now that's cannabis infused. Milk Cosmetics has cannabis infused. Makeup Revolution has cannabis infused makeup, and I'm really trying to get my hands a little bit on a little bit of each one, because I just think it's amazing that they've expanded that far and that people are becoming a little bit more open-minded and not so narrow-minded to cannabis. You know, I think maybe a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to admit it, but they are right about cannabis, because they're infusing makeup, they're infusing teas, they're infusing moisturizers, they're infusing ointments and candy, popcorn, gummies, chocolate, you name it, soda, ice cream. All that stuff works, you guys. And you know what? All you have to do is give it a chance. If you're on a lot of different medications and you're looking for something to maybe wean you off a little bit, or maybe you can still take those medications but not as much, you can kind of wean yourself down, and then try the CBD. You don't have to do the THC if you don't want to get that high. The CBD is not going to get you high, but it's going to relax your body. It's going to be a good anti-inflammatory. You know, if you don't want to wait for doctors to fill prescriptions of that we need for pain, but also cause pain. So, you know, it's kind of like we need it, but at the same time, it's helping what we have, but it's also causing, you know, some like little side effects that we might have to take something else for. Maybe like one of my pills, my pain meds cause nausea, so I'll have to take something for nausea, which is not a big deal, because it's nausea pills for me are like eating Tic Tacs. But I do the CBD, I do the THC, I incorporate that, and I'll tell you what, that has really cut down my pain med use. It's cut down ibuprofen or Advil, because CBD is an anti-inflammatory. Advil is an anti-inflammatory. Try it, you guys. The worst that can happen is it will work for you. And don't be so narrow-minded, you know, be a little bit open-minded. It's not about drugs. You know, you have to really get that thought and that idea out of your mind, is that CBD is a drug. And it's, you know, you see a marijuana leaf and people just want to run, because it's like, oh no, I'm not a drug addict, and it alters your thoughts and your mind. And you know, back in the olden days, or the I don't know what days, but just think about like the medicines that like the Indians used to smoke, the peyote and stuff. Like all that stuff was medicinal. They had the medicine man back then. Like, people need to come back to that. And I'm not saying stop taking your high blood pressure medicine, stop taking your diabetes medicine, stop taking your arthritis medicine. But I'll tell you what, I promise you that if you give it a good month of incorporating even the smallest amount of CBD, you're gonna see that your knees might not hurt as bad. Even though you're taking an anti-inflammatory that the doctor gave you, maybe some naproxen or something, it's going to upset your stomach, because naproxen, Advil, ibuprofen, all that stuff messes up your stomach. But if you take some natural CBD, even a little bit of THC, I promise you, you're going to feel better. Whether you want to admit it or not, that's a different story. But be a little bit more open-minded with natural stuff. So I'm just frustrated because I'm waiting on pharmacists and stuff, and I'm at a point where I'm just ready to just try my best to cut out as much as I can of my prescriptions, and whether it be mood stabilizers, pain meds, indica, THC, chocolates, drinks, ice cream, ointments, all that stuff. Put your heating pad on if you've got a backache, if you have neck pain, if you've got knee pain. Rub a little bit of that THC or CBD ointment on, put your heating pad on, and it'll prevent you from having to take a pain pill, and it'll prevent you from having to take a anti-inflammatory. I promise you. Like, I'm not a professional, but I know what I'm saying, and I know enough people in the industry, and I have enough experience with it to say I know without a shadow of a doubt that it will help you. So, you know, think about it, sleep on it. A lot of people are just so close-minded that they don't even want to consider trying it. But you've tried everything else, and you've got all these prescriptions that have all these chemicals in them that are really doing damage to our livers, our kidneys, which is why I have to have my kidneys and my liver checked with blood work periodically. That's one of the reasons. But they also are looking to make sure my white blood cells and my red blood cells are where they need to be. But at the same time, they're checking my liver, because a lot of the medications do cause damage to your liver and your kidneys, and the last thing you need is to be taking medications that are going to cause you to go into kidney failure. Look it up, research it. I've said this before when I did my CBD THC video. I know that's not what this video was about. I was just ranting about, you know, having to wait for a doctor, a human being, to determine my night and my day and my future. Like, I just think it's ridiculous. So if we can take our health into our own hands and have more control, I would have more peace of mind. I would feel so much better. That's what I'm constantly focusing on. That's what I'm constantly working on. I'm going to continue to work on that. And one day I'm going to sit down and I'm going to tell you guys, I stopped taking all my medications. Maybe not all, but I've stopped taking a lot of my medications. I'm feeling better. I'm having better days, more quality of life. And I can tell you that right now, I do have better quality of life using the CBD and the THC. Whether it be ointments, whether it be a chocolate bar. I got this really good peanut butter and jelly chocolate bar. It tastes exactly like a PBJ. And you want to I personally, because I have anxiety, I don't like to use a sativa. A sativa THC is going to give you energy. It's like a pick-me-up. It's like having coffee. And the indica, if you think about it, indica is like this is how we used to describe it, is like it puts you in the couch, like you're in the couch, you're in for the night, it's relaxing you. So it's one you want to take when you're ready to relax and call it a night. A sativa is if like you want to go out and be productive and run your errands or work or whatever, and you want to do the sativa because it's going to wake you up, but it's also going to take away your pain, your nausea. If you're going through chemotherapy, if you're going through radiation and you have nausea, it is the best thing for it. I promise you it is. So anyway, you guys, this is my rant for the day. I'm getting it off my chest and I'm going to let it go. It is what it is at this point. But just know that I'm actively working on eventually weaning myself off this stuff, because I'm really tired of waiting for calls, waiting for authorizations, waiting at the pharmacy, making multiple trips only to get there for them to tell me we don't have it, it's not ready, or it wasn't called in. It's really frustrating, and that causes anxiety. When you have anxiety, you're taking something for anxiety, and then they're frustrating and aggravating you. Like, that's why I say I can handle it, because, you know, I'm a little stronger than somebody who's like 70 or 80 years old who has really bad health problems and they have to drive themselves. Not every senior has somebody to take them to the doctor. I've offered to do that to a couple different people. I had an older lady who lived in one of the senior apartments that my mom lives in. There's like a little community of them. Well, she lived in one of the other buildings. She had one daughter, and her daughter, it just drove me crazy. Her daughter, and she has since passed on. Her name was Irene. She was the 80-year-old version of me. Like, we had so much in common. And she was a cool lady from New York. She had an accent, like the accent that I want, and she was just like the coolest little old lady. I would take her to the grocery store. I would, run errands for her. I took her to get her hair cut once. Her daughter and her son-in-law didn't like her, and they were just annoyed with her son-in-law, and her daughter was just really hateful with her. So on days that her daughter-in-law would come pick her up to take her maybe to the grocery store, and then maybe she would want to go, she'd say, hey, do you think we could stop and maybe I could get a quick haircut? Her daughter would tell her, listen, I am not going to be taking you all these different places. You need to let me know ahead of time. And one time she was at home, she had gone for a haircut, and then realized that she needed stuff from the grocery store. So she had called her daughter back, and she's like, do you think maybe tomorrow, I know you can't come back today, but do you think maybe tomorrow you could run to the grocery store or take me to the grocery store? And her daughter yelled at her and said, why do you always do this to me? You should have told me when we were out yesterday. Now I have to make an extra trip. I mean, this lady was on almost 100% oxygen. She had to rest every 5 steps. Man, I felt so bad for her. I did as much as I could for her. Again, when I was having bad days, there was a time where I had to cancel on her, and I felt so bad because she wasn't able to go. She wasn't able to go to the store. So her and I would go have ice cream. Like, we did stuff. I didn't just go run errands for her. Like, she was my friend and I was her friend. And she said, hey, you want to stop and have a scoop of ice cream? Well, I'm lactose intolerant. But I didn't tell her that. I was like, yeah. We went to this cute little ice cream. It's like an old-fashioned candy store. And they served ice cream there. And strawberry is my favorite ice cream. What was her favorite ice cream? Strawberry. And it was just so cool. Like, we sat down, and she was telling me about when she was younger and how she used to go to the biker bars and drink with the bikers, and she thought it was cool because I rode a motorcycle. And she was just this little old lady that if you looked at her, you would have no idea. Like, you would think she's just a little wholesome little old lady. And man, she was just like, yeah, I used to sit and drink with the bikers, and people would be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why are you going and hanging out at them places like that? And she was just like so cool, so down to earth, so non-judgmental, and I felt so bad for her. And it broke my heart. She gave me this gold dipped long stem rose that a friend of hers had given her years ago. And she told me before she died, whenever you're having a bad day, whenever you're feeling like you're just ready to lose hope and you're ready to give up, look at this rose, hold it, look at it, and just remember that you can do anything. You can get through anything. You're a strong woman, she told me, because she knew about all the stuff that I had been through. And this rose gave her hope. And she wanted me to have it. And I'm so glad that I shared those moments with her. And I have that rose. And I am going to go into my room and pick up that rose and hold it, because there's times where you just feel like giving up. There's times in life where people make you just feel so hopeless and so defeated. It's just a defeated feeling. And I'll just always remember Irene for reminding me that there's nothing too big and nothing too great that we can't get through it. And when we have to depend on other people, and her daughter made her feel like she was just a burden and a nuisance. And to know that she died, and I didn't get to talk to her before she died, and I didn't even get to go to her services because her daughter didn't want to have a service for her. So I didn't get to go to her service because her daughter just didn't want to be bothered with it. You know, that's between her and God, and we know she'll have to answer for that. But that was a little bit of a side story. I would take her to pick up her prescriptions, and it just reminded me of her while I was talking about, you know, my prescription frustration and doctor frustrations and just people in general, and having to be at the mercy of other people. It's an ugly, ugly feeling. It's just the worst feeling in the world to know that there's some things in our life that we don't have any control over, and to know that other people have that control, and to know that other people maybe will slack and not really care because it's not them, or it's not their mother, or it's not their daughter or their sister or their friend. Sometimes people just don't care because it's not them. Until you've gone through it, they don't care. So that's my rant for the day. I'm sure a lot of you can agree with how crazy it is that we're all just one keystroke away from one extreme or the other. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Yeah, leave me your comments about your frustrations about all this, or anything like this, or just your frustrations in general. Like, this is a place where you guys can vent too. I'm here to listen. I'm here to respond. I'm here to give you my feedback. You know, from what you guys are going through. This channel is not just about me, about my life, about what I get through in my days, or what I go through in my days. It's not just about my makeup. It's not just about my mental health. It's about you guys, and it's about what you go through. I want to be the place for you to go to, like a therapist, like, I don't know, going to church and talking to a pastor, or, you know, I don't know, a counseling. You call a number because you don't have somebody that you can talk to, so you call somebody and talk to a stranger. I want to be that place, that safe place. This is a judgment-free channel, and I want to be the go-to for anybody out there who's struggling or suffering and frustrated and don't have anybody to bounce off your emotions and your feelings to. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. I thank you so much for listening to me all the time, in my craziness, in my quirkiness, and my just deadness. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Bye, guys.